In this tutorial, we're going to be going over the Quality tab under Job Settings for the job that we've got open from our queue in Versaworks, the famous Dave logo that we were working on before. And the Quality tab is the second one down over here. As you can see in the Quality settings, it starts out with media type. The media type is kind of a recipe for what we're cooking. Whereas with a recipe for a cake, I would need the flour, the sugar, how many eggs, and whatever other ingredients in there. I need to know the specific temperature that I'm going to set my oven at to bake it and how long to cook it. The same goes for the media type. The media type, we can choose from all the different medias that I would want to print on, and you can see I've got a bunch of them in here, the default ones that come with it, and a few that I've added down at the bottom, like Oracal's 3165, Solutions Clear from Imprintables, Stall Solution Opaque. You can see each one of these is a recipe for making those decals or that heat transfer or that banner. For this example, we're going to use Glossy Calendared Vinyl, which is GCVP. Right there, Glossy Calendar Vinyl Profile, and you can see once I've picked that recipe, that media type, I can tell it a print quality. Now some of these I can't tell it a print quality. Say I was going with the Solutions Clear, it's only going to give me one. It's saying standard, and it's going to take me about 18 minutes to print that out. And you can see down here my resolution is a 720 by 720, and I can't check a mode on this because it's disabled for this profile. Whereas for the Glossy Calendared Vinyl profile, I have several options. I can do a high quality, which changes that to 1440 by 720, or I can do a high speed, which is a 360 by 720, and each one of them has a different time associated with it because of how fast it's going to print and the resolution. Now some of them you can see I've got a couple options. I've got the CMYK or WPass, which is white. If my printer had the capability of printing white and I had that in my design, I could select that and it would do the white pass for me. But on this one we're going to go with a standard quality. It's going to tell us it's about 9 minutes to print out, and we're just going to leave it with CMYK. So again, the media type is our recipe, and then we can change the print quality, and the resolution is dependent upon what type of quality we're doing. And the details, the halftone, it's grayed out. This would be for certain profiles, media types that we could print on for transparencies, say for screen printing. If I was doing a transparency to shoot a screen, it would allow me to choose a different halftone in the halftone options. In interpolation is for raster graphics. This would be, say, a photograph that we brought in there, and we're taking that photograph from a 2" by 3" and we're going to print it 20 by 30. So we've expanded it out. Well, Versaworks is going to try to interpolate all of those edges of every dot, every pixel in there, and choose the correct color for it. We have 3 different options under this. Nearest neighbor, it's just a fast logarithm. It's not going to make the grandest results, but it's going to be fairly fast for processing. Bilinear, which is the in-between one, it's going to be a medium processing time and medium level of quality. And bicubic, which is a higher level of logarithm, which is going to make some really great results from it, but it's going to take a long time for it to do the processing and calculating of all that. So depending on the job and the qualities you're looking for on an output, you can choose the different types of interpolation here. For most of our jobs, Nearest Neighbor's done a good job for us. We haven't gotten into high-end photo or anything along that line, so not too often will I choose anything other than Nearest Neighbor. Under the direction here, I can choose for the printer to print bidirectional, so when it goes down one way it's going to print, and when it comes back the other way it'll print, or I can tell it unidirectional. With unidirectional, it is going to be slightly more accurate. It's only going to print one way. This is a way if you're having issues with banding or your feed calibration is off. If your feed calibration is off, I recommend doing a feed calibration within the unit itself under the submenus. But you will get a higher quality print from unidirection, but it will take a lot longer. You can see my standard went up to 18 minutes there, whereas with bidirectional it's going to go down to 9 minutes. It's cutting it in half. The high quality, it didn't change it at all there. So you can see the high quality is putting down so much ink in the quality of it, 1440 by 720, that it takes it a lot longer to print. We haven't had any problems with any banding in our shop. Our feed calibration is set correctly, so the bidirectional is the way we go in there. Ignore default settings. I can check this one here. I can change the speed of the head in there and how fast it's going to print. It's obviously going to affect it. I can tell it 500, and we'll go back there, hit enter, and I believe that'll change the speed a little bit. See, it went up to 13 minutes there for the standard, and I want to bi-directional. It changed how fast it's going to go. When I click back off that ignore default settings, you can see it's going to be faster up there. So you could change how fast this is going to be printing. That is driven from within the profile itself of the job, that recipe, if you will. Under color management, there's a lot of things you can do here. Most of the times in our shop we use either Prepress US or Max Impact. Prepress US is for anything that's a raster graphic, whereas Famous Dave's over here is a vector graphic. I can use the Max Impact setting here, and with Max Impact it's going to change the color model that's used. Instead of it being that Prepress US, the standard across the board, nothing's really changed, it's going to be using a Roland color specific perceptual model, and it kind of shifts the gamut of colors in there. I really like this one for vector graphics because it makes my reds pop, my blues are a lot better, my greens are deeper and more vibrant. It works very, very well for vector graphics. But if I've got a raster graphic, a photograph or something along that line, and there's a lot of reds in it, especially like somebody's cheeks are rosy, using Max Impact will tend to oversaturate those, and you'll get this bloody looking cheeks, which nobody likes too much. So you have to take a look at what you're using in here. You can even go further under this and click the properties of that, and I'm in the preset of Max Impact, and I can see it's using the Roland color specific perceptual model for both the RGB and CMYK, and I can change those. I can tell it for an RGB graphic in here, don't use the Roland one, I want you to use the Adobe RGB, and now you can see it changed it over to a custom preset. So you can change all of these different things in here, including the matching method. If I wanted to use a saturation or absolute, you can really get into a lot of affecting how your prints come out. The only way to truly see all these is if you were to print out the same graphic and use all the different presets, and then go in and play around with the custom settings too, to see how it affects everything within that print, and to see what you like and what you don't like, and realize that it can change from job to job, where you have a complete vector graphic, or you have something that has vector and raster in it, or you have something that's a 100% raster graphic. But for our shop, we use generally either the Prepress US or the Max Impact, depending on if it has raster graphics, go with the Prepress, or if it has vector graphics, the Max Impact. Since this is a 100% vector graphic, I'm going to use Max Impact. And then under here I can specify a profile and ignore the default. The default would be the glossy calendared vinyl that I've selected up here, and I can tell it to go with any of the profiles that are loaded within Versaworks, and there's tons and tons of them. I never use this setting personally. I don't know of anybody who does in their shop, but you could select this to override the profile that this is going to as a target, and use the specific other profile for the printing. To sum up the quality tab, we've got our media type, which we can select in here. That's the recipe, if you will, for what we're going to be making. The different print qualities for some profiles that allow you to change this in the approximate time. Our resolution is dependent upon the quality. The mode that we're going to be doing, if we have a white ink that we can use in here, we can use the WPass. The interpolation, and that's how it interpolates on a raster graphic when we expand that out to a larger size, and the different levels that we can use there. The direction it's going to print, either bidirectional or unidirectional. Ignoring our defaults and specifying some head speed or individual profile, and our color management presets that we can use. Again, I use Prepress US or Max Impact. In the next tutorial, we'll be going over the color adjustment, file format, and mark tabs, and seeing the different settings that are available there.